hoteli lazima ikaribishe wageni, si ndio? But now sometimes you find that there are some certain kind of guests who become a nuisance. Yani wamekuja tu to cause chaos. And that is the you know, it's something that really bothers, like just creating a lot of toxic environment, for lack of a better word. That means probably they are coming and they're just probably not following whatever policies and procedures that are set. So does that make you as a security professional in the hospitality industry to have you know, your stand, or will it be seen as security is trying to push away clients? How do you go about handling you know?
We call them difficult guests.
Difficult guests, yes.
So in every entity, you will never miss such guests. There are those who ideally were just born difficult, somebody who would never want to follow procedures and policies around. There are those also who feel at times, you know, security is not always so comfortable. Even to myself, at times I'm a security professional, but you go to a mall sometimes, you know, you feel tired. Hutaki kushuka kwa gari, usachiwe, you know. So it's something that we understand deeply, and we normally know how to handle it, because through the trainings, and trainings are very, very key to our officers, and even myself as the security manager, most of the time you'll always find that I'll have to refresh myself in most of these things. So number one, we have to understand we are in the hospitality industry. So at any given point, you get a difficult guest, or a guest who doesn't want to follow the policies and procedures around. Some of these people don't understand. That is why you'll find somebody is having difficulties even in following up the policies. But then if you make them understand the reason why you are doing this, because sometimes, let me give you a perfect example. Somebody comes at the main entry and then he doesn't want to be searched. But then you ask yourself, if everybody was getting into this property without being searched, how many of items which would be a threat to the guest would get into the premise?
A lot.
And you see, security starts with you as an individual. And once you've made sure that you are safe, then you can be guaranteed that any other person who is on next to you is safe. So there are no, in fact, as I told you when you were starting, there are no assumptions in security. And at any given point, everybody has to go. If it is search, everybody will have to go through search. That is how you'll ensure that the property is safe, and every other person who is within the property is also safe. So such guests, number one, you have to ensure that you explain to them and understand why are you doing the processes that you are doing. Because most of the time you realize that somebody comes, or somebody just decides to be difficult with you. Or if it's a security guy like me, some of them just come to see, okay, fine. What about if I cause chaos? Will I get an easy entry in? It's just like a penetration test. They are doing this to ensure that the guys who are also there, because every security guy will always mean well in terms of security for whoever, any entity they are going into. Because themselves, they also want to be safe. So somebody would come and just, there are two categories. Somebody will just decide to be difficult. Somebody will be difficult because they don't understand the procedures. They are not aware of what is happening. But once you make them aware of what is happening, you'll find that you'll have an easy way with them.
How about now when you know, you're hosting all these people from different walks of life, and then you know, everybody always has a phone out. Kila mtu anataka kuchukua selfie, anataka kuchukua video. They want to what extent do you allow that without infringing? I know it's something that other how to go about it, but probably
there's general data protection rights. And it's also one very tricky, and those are the challenges that I normally have experienced in the hospitality industry in the last few years. Controlling data at the end of the day. This photo that is being taken is data. You don't know where it's going to be processed. You don't know who is in that data that is going to be processed, and what legal liabilities you might face. So it's always important and prudent for hotels to designate specific areas for people, because ideally when I come to a hotel, I've taken my meal, I want to have memories for my stay there and my spend there. So ideally, it is very prudent, yes, at the same time having guest experience rolled out to the guest, but also ensuring that you are safe legally, and even, of course, let me tell you what normally happens mostly with photos before I explain the general data protection regulation issue. Those who normally spy hotels, how do they collect data? They'll not record it in their heads. They'll definitely have records of the photos and videos they take around.
Yes.
That is the basic spying that goes around. When somebody wants to hit this place, what do? they'll definitely come, take photos, take videos of the place. They'll not just walk in, watch the way things are happening and go, no. They must have a record of what is happening, go sit down, strategize and plan for that. That is number one. So there are those critical infrastructure areas that we don't allow photos to be taken in. Of course, the critical infrastructure.
And they're well signed.
So let me tell you, most of the times you'll find that there are some hotels which have the no photography policy displayed everywhere.
Yeah.
But then the no photography policy at times is a silent law. It's like, let me give you one of the examples of a basic silent law. You cannot come and urinate on top of this table. It's a silent law that you can't do it. The same happens, and everybody is becoming more aware with the data processing all over wherever we are. Because as an individual, if I wouldn't be comfortable being in a photo that I didn't give consent to, then I shouldn't be doing that to somebody else.
Yeah.
So the kind of challenges that we normally receive are fine. There are public areas where we can take photos, and those areas are known that they are public areas. Number one, by either informing the guest that if you want to take photos, and most of guests, by the way, I'm very happy with the kind of clients and guests we receive these days. They are so much enlightened, and they know. Informed, they'll come and ask you, am I allowed to take photos? You see, and they'll come and take photos. You give them a go ahead, and they'll take photos. But then have an example whereby somebody wants to take a photo of the guards doing the operations at the main entry. That is a critical infrastructure area. So why are you having videos of operations of the search at the main entries? What is your intention? How is that giving you memories of your stay within the hotel? Doesn't make any sense.
Watasema ni content.
Content, sasa content aje? Hiyo content inakusaidia na nini? Ideally, unaona askari anafanya kazi yake pale wageti unaenda kumpiga picha. How is that contributing towards your content? It is not. It is not. And by doing so, you would give me several ideas, because why are you doing that? Is there something sinister you are planning to do? So those are some of the areas that are just so open that I would actually talk to about in terms of general data protection regulation, and also just ensuring that the hotel is actually saved. Now, there is a situation whereby we have issues to deal with marketing. You have come at Mercure and Pullman hotel. Pullman is still under construction. But by the way, basically, I didn't explain to you the kind of a scenario we are in. We have a very, very interesting entity. Pullman and Mercure Nairobi Upper Hill is a combo hotel. Ideally, in a core group of hotels, we have clusters. So we have the premium hotels, we have the luxury as the top tier brand, we have the premium hotels, we have the mid-scale, and then we have the budget hotels. Now, Mercure and Pullman, the luxury brands fall under the M Gallery, which is being built in Gigiri, which is yet to open very soon. And then we have Fairmont the Norfolk, which is just in town. And then now, if you come at the premium brands, now we have Movenpick, we have Pullman, which is now coming up. We have Mount Kenya Safari Club, you know. So if you look at this level of hotels, ours is in such a situation whereby we are not clustered, but we are two scales in one. So Mercure is a mid-scale, Pullman is a premium brand. So both brands in the same entity. So we call ours, it's a combo setup. Combo setup of a hotel. So you find in terms of marketing, going back to what we are discussing in terms of taking photos and the rest. Mostly you will find that photography and videography is normally controlled with marketing, PR and marketing, and security. Security for obvious security reasons. We would never wish that our critical infrastructures are exposed outside there. Because ideally, if you are a guest, there are guest areas designated for guests. If I see you taking photos in critical infrastructure areas, not photos that would actually give you memories, then ideally I would start questioning the reason why you are taking the photos. But if there are your photos, you are taking your own selfies, and be very careful. Not all photos might look like they are genuine photos, but some of them are not. Because ideally, the reason why at times, and you'll see in hotels, we don't restrict you from taking photos, but in restricted areas, don't take photos. There are those restricted areas. An example, why would you take a photo in my gas tank? You see, that is an infrastructure and it's a critical area that you're not supposed to. You're walking around taking photos of the location of the CCTV cameras where they are. Definitely will explain to me, why are you taking photos of my security infrastructure where it is? But if you're taking a photo inside the pool, that photo should also be within capturing you and your friends, not any other person who is not intended to be in that photo. So whether it is in the public area, yes, take photos as much as you want for your memories, but ensure that that photo doesn't infringe the rights of any other guest. At the end of the day, doesn't expose us in terms of our security.
Okay.
So those are the most critical and key areas. If guests would just observe that, number one, ensure that whatever photos you are taking respects the rights of the other guest, and also that whatever photos you are taking are not going to cause any security risk within the property. Then you are good to go. We'll never have problems with you.